How's it going, everyone? Turtle here, and with the next update expected in February to bring along a slew of new heavy tanks, I wanted to put out a video showcasing some ways that you can defeat heavy tanks in battle. I'm not really expecting Relic to tweak any of these existing counters that I'm going to go over. I hope they don't. I don't know why they would, but I also wouldn't be surprised if Relic adds more counters to heavy tanks once they add that in this new update with the new battle groups. So I'm going to try to keep this about a 10-minute long video. This will probably be two parts. The first part will focus on allies and their counters to heavy tanks. The second part will be on Axis and their counters to heavy tanks. If you're an Axis main though, I still recommend you watch this video, so that way when you get out that shiny little Brumbar, you know what to aim for and what to look out for on the battlefield. So let's jump right into it. First, I wanted to go over what is a heavy tank in the game, and as it stands right now, if you guys can prove me wrong, there's only 7 heavy tanks. So if there's one I missed, go ahead and flame me in the comments for missing it. But these are the only heavy tanks I know of. There's 3 Brit heavy tanks, the Black Prince, the Churchill, and the Matilda. There's 3 Wehrmacht heavy tanks, Tiger, Brumbar, and the Panther. And then there's only 1 DAC heavy tank, and that is the Tiger. So right now it's a little imbalanced. Axis have 1 more heavy tank than the Brits do. I expect that probably will get evened out by the update. I bet we'll see 2 more heavy tanks added to the Allies as a whole, and we'll probably only see 1 heavy tank added to Axis. So there'll probably be 5 options and 5 options at the end of February when that update comes along. Alright, so first we're going to go over the faction I probably play the most, which is the British. I'm going to go through each faction and a couple counters that I feel like are the best way or the easiest way to fight off an enemy tank. Now again, these are all assuming your enemy is pushing a Tiger unsupported, or you're able to catch one in a 1v1 scenario where you're counter versus their Tiger. A good player is usually going to have their Tiger supported with either AT guns, other tanks, etc. But if you're able to catch one or focus down one while your teammates, or this is a 1v1 or whatever, these are some of the ways I'd recommend doing this. So I'll start off with, I think the most easily accessible counter for Brits is on the M3 Stuart with the command upgrade. You have here for 45 munitions the Mark vehicle ability. It'll 25% additional damage, 50% easier to hit, and it makes it 25% easier to penetrate. So this will just kind of mark out the vehicle to everyone. I'm going to show you an example of how powerful this can be. This is probably like a standard build, late game. You're playing the Aussie battle group, you're not doing T4, you get out an archer, you have Stuarts as your main line, one of them's a commander, the other one has this tread shot ability, which I also would throw in here as like the combo of you can use the Mark vehicle and the tread shot. So what I'm going to do is click on this Tiger, make it an enemy, and then I'm going to, let's say you see that, you do Mark vehicle, you do tread shot, and you have the archer attack move it. You'll have it get marked, it'll get hit, tread shot goes in, stuns it, and then you can get out of there. And it's that easy. So 2 Stuarts, 1 archer with the tread shot and Mark vehicle. That's 1 heavy vehicle down. Obviously that's a Tiger, that's the most heavily armored one. If you see a Panther or anything else, you can try that. The next, I'd say, the 2-pounder target weak point availability I think is pretty underutilized. I don't see a lot of people use this. I love it. I love that it's unlocked on Vet 1. It's cheap, and I think it lasts about 3 to 4 shots, if I remember correctly. So I'm going to show you here again. I'm going to have this Tiger kind of push. Let's say it's pushing a defensive point. You have your units here. All you have is this 2-pounder and 2 upgunned Crusaders. Let's see who wins this fight. So I'm going to have him move here. Make him Why can't I make him enemy? Maybe I gotta
Tank and crew ready.
make him the enemy. Unpause it, pause it again. I'll use target weak point. So I hit that. And I'm gonna unclick this. So it hits, should start right about now. There we go. So now he's being slowed. And he can't fire back. And this resets every time that the 2-pounder hits with that ability active. So even with my fumbling around a little bit at the start, this still won the fight. Every time this shot goes off, it minus 50% speed and disables the weapon's target, or the target the weapon on the target. It always penetrates, so that's just one really simple way to get rid of a heavy tank. The last way is maybe you go armored, and instead of going for the Recchiardi, you go for the designate targets. This also, I think, this might work better more with a group of enemy armor. Like, let's say they're spamming a lot of light vehicles, you know a group is in the area. But for this example, we're going to use, you haven't been preparing any kind of heavy counter, you just have a Crusader fleet out right now. That's like the meta for Brit late game, is you're getting either out a Crusader fleet or a Grant fleet. Crusaders seem to just work a little bit better right now. So, you know there's a tiger, you think you can hear it in the fog of war, you think it's over here somewhere. So I'm going to go ahead and make him the enemy. We're going to throw. What this does is it throws, it's like the Recchiardi, but it just marks the vehicles. So we'll throw it over here. We'll wait for that to come in. And once that comes in and marks him, you'll run in with your Crusader fleet. Probably take a few shots. Do one run. And then you'll peel out of there, and that tiger's dead. One run with 3 Crusaders. That's 1 tiger dead. So those are 3, I'd say, just easy British counters for heavy tanks. We'll switch over to the USF counters now. Now that we've gone over the British counters to heavy tanks, I wanted to focus on USF and their counter to heavy tanks. USF, I think, probably has the most options to counter heavy tanks, but that makes sense since they're the faction that lacks a heavy tank right now. Also, again, I want to reiterate, focus more on these abilities that I'm showcasing. Don't focus so much on the exact unit count. The units that I'm having fight in these little battles are just to show you an example of how much it takes combined with the ability to kill a tiger. I'm not saying these are the preferred builds to counter a tiger, just the ability I'd rather you focus on. And I'm straying away from static units like 17-pounders and the flat guns. Artillery is really dominant in the meta right now. I just can't recommend that you get out a 17-pounder because it's going to get blown off the map by a Westby or a Stuka. So, first one on the 75mm half track. The target weak point on this is the same as the target weak point on the 2-pounder. Super clutch, disables the weapon, resets every hit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have this 75mm attack. I'm going to have it activate its target weak point. I'll even have it get a little closer. And if you have something quick like Chaffee's, you can zoom around to the back, get a couple shots off, and then maybe peel out of here. I might be able to get this kill off. Yeah. So that's one way. You know, you don't necessarily need Chaffee's. Anything can do it as long as you're combining it with that target weak point. The USF faction has built into its base roster I think one of the better AT guns because of this ability only. This ability is powerful. It costs a lot of munitions, so you can't always use it. But if you have the munitions, it's available right off from the base version of the gun. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna give this a command move. Make him an enemy. And then activate this ability. and we'll see if it can make a full pass through. I think it might be able to get about right here, and then it'll die, but we'll see. Oh my god. Well, maybe I should have had it move a little further. It got a lucky RNG there, took out one of the AT guns. Let's see if it'll take out the other one in time. So if the Tiger stops dead in his tracks, yeah, you'll win this fight. But even before that happened, you saw how much damage 2 AT guns with that ability active, they took away a good chunk of that health. The last one I'd say is any combination of the marked vehicle through the Spec Ops battle group. It's pretty cheap to get, doesn't cost a lot of command points, only 50 munitions, or if you go ISC and you get out the captain, he has a free marked vehicle. Both of these are only active on one unit. You have to specifically click on an individual unit. It's not like the British marked vehicle where it's a recce loiter that flies over and marks any vehicle. You have to click on a single vehicle and only that vehicle suffers this debuff. So yeah, I'd say your choice of, going Spec Ops, I'd say this is kind of worth it. The anti-infantry loiter is pretty good, but if your teammates or you're playing 1v1 or whatever, you're worried about a heavy tank, I'd say this one's worth it. If not, and you go ISC with any other battle group, I'd get this marked vehicle a lot. So I'm going to combine that with, a Zook and 2 regular Shermans, and we'll see if that can kill this Tiger.
What have you earned your chow, boys?
Kind of have everything attack move that way.
Hit the side plate of the way. Another man down! Get this tin can moving! Right of our left! Let's go! Keep her steady! Let's move now! Hard hit! Oh, we're there!
So do one little loop. We got him close to half health. And then I'll loop back around. And we'll see he's close to dying. We'll see if these Shermans can get out of there. Oh, nice trade.
These bazookas need targets, damn it! I don't fancy our chances, do you?
Took a little bit longer than I thought, but you still get the point. Marked vehicle was able to really make that Tiger vulnerable to attack. I'm not sure. I'm not really sure. I need to test it out more to see which one's better, because they both have different stats. I'd assume this one's better since it adds the plus 25% additional damage, as opposed to this one doesn't have the additional damage, but it makes weapon penetration plus 50%. I don't know how the math works out, if that ends up being stronger, the Captain's version or the Spec Ops version. Not totally sure, but I'd recommend one of those 2 routes. So that's what I want to leave you guys with. Again, don't focus too much on the units that I'm showcasing, more of the abilities. There's also, I think I have a real funny short where I use 3 upgun 76 mil Shermans with the white phosphorus shell. I'd say that's also a really good ability, but that's only if you have a handful of them. I kind of used it as a chain. You just constantly blocked his vision. He couldn't fire. But that's another counter, I'd say, if you have the upgunned or even just the regular Sherman with the vetted up white phosphorus shell. It's pretty good. That's what I'd recommend. So let me know if you guys have any suggestions in the comments. If you have any routes you like to go, any abilities you like, any combinations. There's tons of units out there. These aren't the only ones that have, stun shots or marked vehicles, but these are the ones I feel like that are the most easily accessible, the most common ones I see out there, and what I try to use the most. So if you like this video, let me know in the comments. Leave a like, subscribe, and go a long way. I'm close to 1K subs, and that's a very important milestone to me. I've been doing this for over a year now, and I think it'd be pretty darn cool to get to 1,000. So with that, I'll leave you guys. Peace, and have a good one.